Hey Panthers! I know you thought you could escape me and math, but here I am streaming from home, ready to bug you all with some ratios, some rates, and unit rates this week. As you're watching this video, you should be following along and filling in your guided learning notes that are located on your Google Classroom underneath the Math tab. Another feature I want to be sure you're aware of is that with the virtual learning, one of the benefits of that is the ability to pause and play at your convenience. So if you do need a little extra time on a problem, pause the video and come back whenever you're ready. On that note, let's go ahead and get started into our first slide. The first thing we're going to be doing is defining a ratio. We have talked about ratios before, so I hope you have a little bit of an understanding of what the word means. Underneath, I want you to go ahead and click right here, and we're going to type the definition. A ratio is the comparison or relationship of two or more quantities. And a quantity is a number. So using that definition, we're going to find the ratio of this picture, the ratio of triangles to circles. When you're finding a ratio, you need to look at what they're asking for first, find that number. So they're asking for triangles first. So how many triangles do we have in this picture? 1, 2, 3. So I am going to replace my first number on the one side of my colon with a 3. The second number that they're asking me for is how many circles are in this diagram? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to replace this number with a 4. And now I can read this ratio as the ratio of triangles to circles is 3 to 4. Now, we know that there are 3 different ways to write a ratio. Right now, we're just showcasing our colon, but we do know that we could also we could be replacing our colon with the word 2, or we could write this also as a fraction. But in this entire presentation, you're only going to see it written with a colon because that's the easiest way to present it digitally, and it's the most convenient. So moving on to this one over here. This one is a little bit different, and the only thing that's different is the second number. So we'll say write the ratio of the first number they're asking me for is the same. How many triangles do I have in this diagram? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put my 3 on one side of my colon. And the second number is how many total shapes do I have in this diagram? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my ratio of triangles to total shapes is 3 to 7. This next slide is really just a reminder to read your problem thoroughly, read it once, then reread it again. You're not only going to be paying attention to what object they're asking for, but what order do they want them in? So are they asking me for a triangle, a circle, or the total amount of shapes? And which order do they want it in? That is the difference between a correct or incorrect answer. It's absolutely vital in both regular ratio problems and word problems that you are paying attention to those two things. So we're going to be doing this. I hope that you are with me and following along as I do this. These are drag and drop, so you're going to be dragging and dropping with me. Looking at number 1, show the ratio of 2 green circles to 8 pink triangles. Okay, so I'm going to drag. My first number they want is 2 green circles. So I'm going to grab green circles. Got 2 green circles, beautiful. And now I have 8 pink triangles. Okay, so now I've got this ratio right here. Now they want me to write the ratio. Going back to my problem, what is the first thing that they're asking me for? Green circles. How many do I have? 1, 2 green circles. Now, how many pink triangles do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my ratio of green circles to pink triangles is 2 to 8. The next part of our problem is simplifying and rewriting our answer. I'm going to show you guys this on the dry erase board as well as on the computer. We need to be asking ourselves, what number can I divide both 2 and 8 by? What number can go both into 2 and 8? The number that can go into both 2 and 8 would be 2. So if I divide both sides by 2, I'm going to, this is simplifying is dividing. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So when we simplify the ratio of 2 to 8, we can simplify that to 1 to 4. Now these two ratios are equivalent. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That gives me an equivalent ratio. On the next 2 slides, you are going to complete the same exact thing that we just showed as your independent lesson. So if you get stuck, you can go back to the slide prior and use that as an example. So you can pause the video right now and complete this slide and then play it and continue, or you can wait till the end and complete all your independent slides. It's completely up to you, whichever one you prefer. So I'm going to skip this slide because you're going to do it by yourself. And this is also an independent slide. In this case, they already gave you the diagram, or I already gave you the diagram, and you are going to do the same thing over to the side with writing it and then simplifying it. Remember, simplifying means dividing. So moving on past our 2 independent lesson slides. We're on slide number 8 now, and we're going to go into the ratio word problems. I'm going to be showing you this both on the computer and on the dry erase board. So in this case, we got to make sure we have to read our problem very carefully, once, twice, hopefully. So there are 24 pink beads and 16 blue beads on Mariah's necklace. What is the ratio of the number of blue beads to the number of pink beads? Okay, so the first thing I need to remember is I'm looking for the ratio. What is the first object that they're asking me for? What's the first quantity, the first number? That is going to be the number of blue beads. So how many blue beads are on Mariah's necklace? If I go back to my problem, there are 16 blue beads. So I'm going to replace this in front of this colon with the number 16. Got to make this a lot larger. Because there are 16 blue beads. Now my second number is going to be the number of pink beads. So going back to my problem, how many pink beads are there? Oh, there's 24. So I'm going to replace on the other side of my colon is going to be the number 24. So the ratio of blue beads to pink beads is 16 to 24. But we're not done because we need to simplify this ratio. So whenever we're simplifying, we need to figure out what is the largest number I can divide both 16 and 24 by. If you need a multiplication chart, You can have that in front of you right now. So what number can I divide 16 and 24 by? That number is 8. So I'm going to divide 8 I'm going to divide 16 by 8. When I divide 16 divided by 8, I get an answer of 2. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So my ratio of blue beads to pink beads was originally 16 to 24. But when I simplified it by dividing both sides by 8, I have the new ratio of 2 to 3. Now these ratios are equivalent, and this is it in its most simplified form. If you move on to your slide 9, we're going to continue with that same exact problem. There are 24 pink beads and 16 blue beads on Mariah's necklace. What is the ratio of the number of blue beads to the total amount of beads? Okay, so the first number that they are asking me for is the number of blue beads. So how many blue beads are on Mariah's necklace? Oh, there are still 16. Gonna put my 16 right here. So she has 16 blue beads. The second number is going to be the total amount of beads. If I go back into my problem, I'm looking for the total amount. That's going to be the sum of, or the how many beads are in total. I'm looking back into my word problem. There are 24 pink beads and 16 blue beads on Mariah's necklace. This number right here is not the total amount of beads. 24 is not the total amount of beads. That's the number of pink beads that there are. To find the total amount of beads, we need to add 24 and 16 together. So when we do 24 plus 16, we're going to add 4 plus 6. We get 10. We're going to put our 0 below and carry our 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. So 24 plus 16 is 40. So the total amount of beads on Mariah's necklace is 40. Now we need to ask ourselves, we have to simplify this. So we need to ask ourselves, what number can we divide both 16 and 40 by? Luckily, it's very similar to slide number 8, the problem we just did. We can divide both these numbers by 8. When we divide 16 divided by 8, we get 2. When we do 40 divided by 8, we get 5. So the ratio of blue beads to total amount of beads is 16 to 40, which we simplified by dividing by 8 on both sides to 2 to 5. So 2 to 5 is the most simple form of that ratio. For slide number 10, you are going to complete this independently with pieces of candy. Reminder to read your problem carefully and complete slides 10 and slide 11 by yourself. You can pause right now and complete them as we speak, or you can complete them at the end of this lesson. Going on to slide number 12. We're going to move into rates and unit rates. So by defining the word rate, clicking on that click to add text, a rate is a comparison of two related quantities. Now I know that sounds very similar to what a ratio is, but a rate is something where we're thinking about miles per hour. These are very often the second number is time, but these are going to be related quantities. Now, moving a little bit more in depth with rates, we have this concept of a unit rate. We have to think of Rady the cat when we think of unit rates. And the definition of a unit rate is how much something per one of something else. So your denominator is going to be 1. How much per one thing? Now moving on to slide 13, talking rates. I'm going to complete this lesson both on the Google Classroom slides and on the dry erase board. So Corbin bought 3 pizzas for $15.75. How much would it cost for him to buy 9 pizzas? So my original ratio right here, oops, that shouldn't be divided by, is going to be 3 pizzas. So Corbin bought 3 pizzas and he spent $15.75. Now the problem asked us, how much would it cost for him to buy 9 pizzas? So I'm going to put this 9, remember we want our units to always match. So I'm going to put this 9 on this other side for pizzas. He wants to get 9 pizzas. Corbin is very hungry. So now when I'm looking at this rate, I need to ask myself, what can I multiply 3 by to get to 9? So I know that I can multiply 3 times 3 to get to 9. So 3 times 3 is 9. Now whatever I do to the top or bottom, whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. Always remember that. So if I multiply 3 pizzas times 3, I need to multiply $15.75 times 3. So we're going to do that math. Write it as $15.75 times 3. First thing we're going to do is get rid of this decimal. We're going to move it 2 spots to the right. We're going to put that 2 above so we don't forget to add that in later. And then we're just going to multiply like normal. 3 times 5 is 15. We're going to put our 5 below and carry our 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. Put our 2 below, carry our other 2. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 2 is 17. Put our 7 below and carry our 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. We need to go back and put our decimal place in 2 spots. So we're going to put that at the back, 1, 2. And we know that Corbin, if he wants to buy 9 pizzas, he's going to spend $47.25. So I use the rate. The price is going to remain the same no matter how many pizzas Corbin buys. So whatever we do to the top, we do to the bottom. We multiplied that number to get this. They asked for 9 pizzas in the problem. So we had to figure out what I had needed to multiply to get to 9. And then whatever I do to the bottom, I had to do to the top. And that's what gave me my final answer of $47.25. So moving on to slide number 14, this is your unit rate issue, or not issue, but problem. That same exact problem. Corbin bought 3 pizzas for $15.75. So I'm going to write that problem in my slide. So $15.75 for 3 pizzas. But now it's asking me, how much does it cost per pizza or per 1 pizza. So if Corbin decided that he really wasn't that hungry, he only needed 1 pizza, what would we have to do to go from 1 to 3? We have to divide 3 by 3 to get to 1. So remember, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So now I have $15.75 divided by 3. First thing I have to do is move my decimal out of the way and put it back in later. 2 spots. And I have to ask myself, how many times does 3 go into 15? 3 goes into 15 5 times. Reminder, it's so important to make sure you're lining up your decimal so you don't lose your place value. Or not your decimal, but lining up your division so you don't lose your place value. So 5 times 3 is 15. 15, take away 15 is 0. I'm going to bring down my 7. How many times does 3 go into 7? The answer is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 7, take away 6 is 1. Bring down my 5. How many times does 3 go into 15? 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. 15, take away 15 is 0. Go back, put my decimal spot in 2 spots, and I know that the price per 1 pizza is $5.25. Reminder, the unit rate is the price per 1. Now for your last 2 slides, this will be your independent lesson for the rates, the word problems, and also a unit rates problem. Once you complete all your independent slides on this presentation, turn it in on Google Classroom. I will see you all tomorrow in our 10 a.m. Skype on math, or no, 11 a.m. Skype on our math skill. If you need help, if this skill is something that you are struggling with, at 11 a.m. tomorrow on Tuesday, I will be holding a Skype meeting. So come with me, come with any questions or comments or problems that you have. I can't wait to talk to you all in person. Have a great rest of your Monday. 1